saying. Hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14. Season 14. God, I'm getting old. Episode 1, and I just want to go on record by saying that I'm really looking forward to this season of Drag Race. Cross-country American representation, a straight cisgendered male, 2 trans women, 2 Latinas, 3 big girls. Everyone's shown up to the table. Well, okay, not everyone. There's no Asian or indigenous queens representing, but still, these broads are broad, is what I'm saying, and I'm here for it. But before we get into it, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who donated to my friend and Patreoner Michael Bergantino's upcoming heart surgery. We raised $6,090 in total, which is so amazing. So thank you so very much. I also want to welcome 2 new Patreoners to the Fingerdoo family. William Stevenson is one of my latest princesses, as is Kitty. Meow. Welcome, dolls. If you want to become a Patreoner, there's a link down in my description box. You heard me. I also have a couple of tipperdoos to thank. Carruthers, a.k.a. Adam, a.k.a. Witch's Child on Patreon, wished me a happy new year and thanked me for helping ease their stress over the past few years. You are welcome, Adam. Try not to stress, my darling. We're all going to get through this. Just remember, deep breaths, and remember to laugh as often as possible. Seriously. I also want to thank Richard Gallagher, who was very generous with his tipperdoo. I know it sounds dirty. Thank you so much, Richard. You are the best. I hope 2022 is treating you well so far, dolls. Seriously. If you'd like to support this channel with a tipperdoo, the link for that is down below as well. Lots of stuff going on down below, I'm just saying. Speaking of down below, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I also want to thank the 160 people who've subscribed since Christmas. You've already made my 2022 more than fabulous. Seriously. Now, Jorge, drink me! Oh, look at this fancy martini. First of all, thank you to Eric for these glasses. Oh my God, it's been so long since we've had martini glasses because someone's lazy, klutzy and lazy. Neither were my drag queen name in high school, I'm just going to say. Oh, some Steinhardt gin and a twist? Shut your face. Okay, let's get to it. Well, dolls, it's a brand new year and a brand new season, which means a brand new empty workroom. But it wasn't empty for long, as Alyssa Hunter broke the seal looking like a lioness on the prowl. And by that, I mean she looked good. Well, not good enough to ignore she has no idea how to hold a bow and arrow. I get it, this pageant queen from Puerto Rico's last name is Hunter, but I think she could have sold that concept with some extreme nails just as well as a bow and arrow. And then you gotta look at her out of drag, and I couldn't remember what my problem was. Cute as she is, this queen's ego is obvious, which says to me that she's going to underestimate a lot of the other queens. We'll just have to see who and how much. Second through the doors was the horny polka dot queen herself, Bosco. I thought she looked good too, but then I'm a whore for a polka dot print, I'm just saying. You could tell that Alyssa's judgment train had already left the station where Bosco was concerned, which already makes me laugh. When will these pageant queens stop underestimating these self-proclaimed skanky alternative queens? Seriously. Personally, I was amazed at what Bosco looked like out of drag. Now that's what I call a transformation. Here's the Bosco, seriously. Although she and Alyssa seemed to have an awkward hello, we didn't have to endure it for long, because next through the workroom doors was the snack herself, Cornbread Jeté. And, well, this queen looked good. Not only was her leather coat dress gorgeous, but her personality was already putting Bosco and Alyssa in their places. Point of fact, Alyssa telling Cornbread that she was versatile, and Cornbread telling Alyssa it's the versatile queens who end up being good at nothing. Well, she's not wrong, no matter how Alyssa tried to deny it. Thank God Willow Pill showed up in a typo to give the queens something else to make fun of. God bless that little angle. I'm hoping it's a conscious commentary on her slim, pointy figure and not a reflection on the American education system. Just saying. Maybe it's because it's been a year since she's done drag, but this is obviously a queen who travels light, because not only wasn't she padded, but She looked like she was dressed more for a day at the beach than the first day of Drag Race. Point of fact, those flip-flops, they seemed to bother Cornbread right to the top of her flexi-rolled head. Alyssa's judgment train rolled all over Willow and her casual couture. Point of fact, I don't think her comparing Willow to Paris Hilton was a compliment to Paris Hilton. Thank God for Carrie Colby. Her entrance look was everything Willow's wasn't. Like, well, breathtaking. Point of fact, Willow's outright shock at how stunning Carrie was. Alyssa's jury was still out as she asked Carrie if she did pageants, and although she said she hadn't done them personally, Carrie did say that her drag mother, Kasha Colby, had. That seemed to shut Alyssa up. Next, through the workroom doors, was what I thought was a cashier from the dollar store. But no, it was June Jambalaya, who looked like she was cast in the parking lot on her way to buy groceries. Just me? Who else was confused by this outfit? Come on. June described herself as if Megan the Stallion and Phaedra Parks had a baby. Well, maybe that explains her outfit. That's probably what they'd wear in the 9th month, is all I'm saying. Seriously, am I the only one who's confused by this entry look? Well, the confusion continued as the next queen through the workroom door. Orion's story was heard well before she was seen. Did she have a leak? What was with that high-pitched squeal? And the confusion didn't stop there, because then Orion had this one-woman show monologue to perform, which, when all was said and done, and it took a hot minute, left everyone confused and with questions. Well, it did me anyway. Being the first queen to represent Michigan, I was instantly worried for Orion when she mentioned puppets. Have we learned nothing from James Mansfield? Seriously. As the queens are trying to get a better sense of who Orion was, they were all gagged to hear RuPaul's video alarm. Clearly, as Carrie said, this season was going to start with a 1-2 punch, with the cast being introduced in 2 rounds. I like that. This was confirmed by Ru when she made her dramatic plaid entrance. Not only did she tell the queens she was bringing the cast in 2 rounds, she also let them know that by the end of this episode, one of them would be going home. Gasp. But there was no time to gather their feels, because the first challenge was starting right then and there. A freaky photo shoot with photographer Albert Sanchez. Needless to say, the queens were gagged. And, well, they should be. The queens would be posing for their photos while being strapped to a spinning finale wheel. I nearly passed out at the sight of Bruno and Bryce in their yellow briefs. Who else would pay good money to have them strap them to something and then spin them around? No. Alyssa Hunter went first, and for a versatile queen, she kept serving a lot of the same expression. I'm going to just go ahead and call it crash test sex doll. Still, she did get one good photo in. June Jambalaya was good, but she seemed to have put a lot of pressure on herself to be perfect, so there wasn't a lot of joy in her final pick. It wasn't bad. Orion's pick was pretty good. I feel like Ru's direction really helped her feel her oats. Well, as much as one can feel one's oats in a situation like this. Bosco did a great job, but then she strikes me as a queen who's been spun once or twice before, and I'm not talking like a record either. Here's to Bosco. Seriously. Carrie clearly was not a fan of being spun around, but once that camera started clicking, she served all kinds of face. That's how you do it. Cornbread did such a good job, she didn't even need the pit crew to spin her wheel. She was so top-heavy, she was able to spin it herself. I've been there. So when the wheel had ground to a halt and the queens were unstrapped, it was no surprise to me, anyway, that Carrie won. Alyssa was thrilled. Then it was time for Ru to tell the queens that this week's main challenge was going to be a talent show. I like a talent show's challenge. It really separates the queens from the wannabes, if you ask me. It also gives us a glimpse into what these queens consider to be talent. As the queens de-dragged, it was no surprise to me that Alyssa thought she was the hottest one out of drag. You know, it's Alyssa's humility that makes me like her even more. I just think it's too bad for her that being hot out of drag isn't part of the competition. What should be part of the winning criteria is how big these queens' transformations are when they get out of drag. Because if it was, Bosco would have won, hands down, with 12-year-old Willow as a very close second. Rue popped back into the workroom to check on the Queen's talent show preparations. Rue's first visit was with Carrie, who revealed that her mother trained her Texas twang out of her. Clearly a mom who loves her baby for who she is, I'm just saying. And what was Carrie's talent going to be, you ask? Well, competitive jump roping, obviously. June told Rue that her style was classy ratchet, which helped me understand her entrance outfit a little more. She also told Rue she'd moved to LA to enroll in a performing arts school. Her talent? African dancing. And, I don't know, maybe she should go into stand-up because she also had the best line of the night by saying, "You can't be called jambalaya and give the people white rice." Here's to June. Seriously. Orion told Rue that she spent a lot of her time growing up alone, avoiding her dysfunctional family. Wait, is that an option? I wish somebody had told me. Orion's talent was going to be performing a comedy skit that involved trailer park fitness. Seems more like an oxymoron to me, I'm just saying. Willow wasted no time telling Rue she was friends with Evie Oddly. She also told Rue that her comedy comes from darkness due to her struggles with cystinosis, bless. She said her talent was going to be a mix between a lip sync and a self-care tutorial. Sounds hilarious to me. Who else wasn't surprised that Alyssa couldn't be bothered to learn Willow's name? She kept calling her Pillow. Well, in her defense, she was close. For her talent, Alyssa told Bosco that she was going to play the guitar and give us a little rock and roll realness. That impressed me. Bosco told Alyssa that she was going to do burlesque, which I was excited about. Who doesn't love burlesque? Well, I mean, not the movie. The next day, as the queens got ready for the talent show, Cornbread brought her smudge spray to purify the room. Or maybe it was to mask a darker issue. Gas. I mean, after her story about farting on a minister who kept trying to release Cornbread's demons, I didn't know what to think. Ask and ye shall receive is what I would have told that preacher man, I'm just saying. To surprise the queens, Lizzo dropped into the workroom rocking a Tina Turner Thunderdome look, being all kinds of cute, to wish the queens luck. Needless to say, the queens were amped after that. Seriously. And then it was time for the runway, but instead of the usual entrance, Rue lip-synced it out to her song Catwalk. I thought she did a good job, but don't get me wrong, that performance would have had her sashaying in a hot minute. Still, she did look good. So did her dancers. I've been in lockdown too long, haven't I? Michelle was there giving us Iris Apfel realness with her big glasses. Newly engaged and svelter than svelte, Ross Matthews was there in a red sequin baseball jacket, and Lizzo continued being all kinds of fabulous. Then it was time for the talent show. June kicked it off, literally, with her African dance number. She did okay, but even if her headband wasn't causing her grief and those bike shorts hadn't been flashed, I wasn't too impressed with her number. It just needed a little more polish or something, I'm just saying. Bosco was dressed like a rose for her burlesque number and looked fabulous. Again! First, she took off her gloves, and then she started peeling off her petals one by one until she was Violet Chachki naked. All in all, Bosco did a great job. Alyssa Hunter surprised me, and not in a good way. I thought she was going to play some rock and roll guitar, but she lip-synced to a track and then mimicked playing an unstrung guitar. I was surprised that she did such a basic number. I was expecting more from a versatile pageant queen. Just me? Carrie Colby lip-synced to Nicki Minaj and then jumped rope to the music. It was fun, but I feel it would have been more impressive if she jumped rope right from the entrance. And, well, her lip-sync had been a bit better. Tell me I'm wrong. Orion was next doing a comedy monologue as a trashy fitness instructor. It was odd, disjointed, and when it was all said and done, just not very funny, bless. Cornbread's talent was a comedy lip-sync to her own song that was beyond funny. But I just want to say this queen's face is her moneymaker. Her facial expressions are hilarious, and she can move. Plus, her props were killing me. Meryl Ginsburg's picture on the side of a carton of milk was hilarious, but don't even get me started about that deep-fried chicken leg necklace. Because I'm hungry. Willow started her number by lip-syncing to Anya, which I was worried about until I saw that tub. And then, well, I was intrigued. First, she threw wine in, then spaghetti, then toast into the tub, and then got in after it. Personally, I think the number would have been funnier if she dragged that toaster in with her, but I guess they want to keep the show light for the children, I'm guessing. And then it was time for the runway. Category is Signature Show-Stopping Drag. June Jambalaya was first in a nude illusion structured shoulder fantasy that more than made up for that horrible entrance look, I'm just saying. I thought she looked stunning, so I had to give her a Fingerdoo. Bosco was next in a black sequin devil number, complete with comedy boobs or horny breasts. Either way, that black wig and flawless makeup made me love this look more than when I saw it on her Instagram page with a full face covering. What can I tell you? I'm all for full exposure. Fingerdoo for Bosco. I didn't hate Alyssa's runway, but it wasn't my favorite. The color was a little boring for me, and that hat kind of took over, but you couldn't deny it was stunning, so Fingerdoo for Alyssa. I was also expecting more from Carrie for a signature showstopper look. The fur coat she wore was fun, but the gold detail at the shoulders really didn't stand out as much as I think she wanted it to. Plus, if you're going to hide a bathing suit and a dress made out of the letter K, that coat had better be impressive. As it was for me, her coat looked a little more like raccoon. I hate to say it, but a Fingerdoo for Carrie. Oof. Once Orion stepped out onto that runway, I knew she was going to land in the bottom two. I hated this look. It may have been a signature look for her, but it was far from show-stopping. That red polka-dotted three-breasted fantasy was more show-stalling than stopping. Bless. Fingerdoo for Orion. Thank God Cornbread was next. She must have taken one look at Lizzo's silver metal mesh outfit and whipped out one of her own. I thought she looked fabulous, but then I love a no-wig cowl moment. Although, I will say, I wish she'd had on a headdress or a wig or something, because as it was, this look made her head look awfully small. And there were complaints. Mostly from me. Still, I gave her a Fingerdoo. If I hated Orion's runway, I despised Willow's, I'll tell you what. That denim-looking jacket and skirt with neon green bodysuit was not it for me. Willow said she wanted her look to have a touch of ugly, but to me, it looked like it had been felt up by ugly. Fingerdoo for Willow, just saying. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. Everybody loved June's runway. Why shouldn't they? She looked gorgeous, but they hated how her headband and the dark bike shorts stole the show during her dance number. Michelle even pointed out she could see those same shorts through her runway look. I have to say, I thought it was touching that Lizzo sensed June's vulnerability and lifted her up with compliments, especially about those pussy willows on the stage. Were they pussy willows? The judges all seemed to like Bosco, too. They loved her burlesque number, and Lizzo compared her sexy sense of comedy to Marilyn Monroe. Well, Ross liked Alyssa's performance, but he was the only one. Michelle was bored by her performance, and Lizzo and Rue felt they didn't really get to know who Alyssa was. Bless. Carrie seemed to be a crowd pleaser, but Ross wished she'd got to the jump rope sooner. No disagreement with me, I'm just going to say. Orion's runway made Lizzo uncomfortable, and not in a good way. Rue said she looked like Orion had been picking cotton, which understandably triggered her a bit. Rue also liked the effort Orion gave her act, but said it really needed work, which is an awfully nice way to say it stank. So, well, here's to Rue. Surprised me, I'm just saying. Michelle loved Cornbread's runway, but like me, wished her runway had some height on it, and she also pointed out that her fishnets had holes in them. Lizzo called her a superstar, and that definitely touched Cornbread's heart. Who else loved her a little bit more after that? No one liked Willow's runway, but they all liked her talent, even if they didn't understand it, because it was fun. Rue particularly liked where Willow was coming from, and he even compared her sense of comedy to Monty Python. Here's to Willow. Was anyone else relieved that there was no Untucked this week? I'm sure they'll bring it back once the whole cast has arrived, but for now, thanks to World of Wonder, seriously, I needed a break from that. When the queens returned to the runway, it was announced that Cornbread was this week's winner. Here's to Cornbread. Good for her. Well deserved, I'm just going to say. Sadly, but no surprise, Orion and June had to lip sync to Lizzo's Water Me. And the first thing I noticed about this lip sync was that June really seemed to want it more. Not that Orion didn't give it a good old college try. I mean, well, she had a wig change, for goodness sake. I just wish she hadn't bothered. I mean, shouldn't a wig reveal a better wig? No. And even though I noticed that June had lost her shoes, I was very happy to see that she didn't lose the lip sync. She shantaed, and it was poor Orion who was the season 14 pork chop. Here's to Orion. Bless you, doll. Way to try. So, what did you think? Did you like meeting only half the cast? How about Lizzo as a guest judge? I hope that's not the last we see of her, I'm just saying. Did the right queen go home? Were the right queens even in the bottom? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And while you're there, check out my links for the fabulous Denise Cherneau wig stylist to the stars, my tipper dues, my Patreon page, and my Redbubble store, as well as a link to the Rainbow Railroad, one of my favorite charities. And until next time, miss me! Well, seriously, Jorge. I don't know, Jorge, I'm just going to say, I enjoyed meeting half of the cast. You get to see them a little better, and nobody really can get lost in the shuffle. But then at the same time, not having anywhere to hide, well, helps the judges thin out that herd a lot quicker. Poor Alyssa, OMG. I thought she was just about to wet her panties when she landed in the bottom three. It's amazing to me, these pageant queens who think because they're pageant queens that they're going to win. They don't think that anyone else that's on the show has any talent or style, but usually it's those pageant queens that stumble, and they stumble early like Alyssa. Oh, I'm excited for next week because we meet the rest of the cast, another 7 queens. That'll be fun, hopefully. I hope they do a talent show too. I hate it when they do 2 different things. I don't know why. I want to see them all perform the same way and then compare. You can't compare apples and oranges when one's still on the tree and another's been made into applesauce. Do you know what I'm saying? Do they have orange sauce? Oh, I guess they do. It's usually hot. Who is it?